Welcome to the Stories of Starting podcast. I'm Heather Boyd. As a self-employed artist for the last 30 years, I'm fascinated with people's passions and creative projects. In this series, we discover how people like you have started new projects by thinking outside the box, going with the flow, and tapping into their childhood imagination. So hey everyone, I'm here today with a very special guest, my mom. This is Anne. So Anne, do you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Hi. I'm the lucky mom of this lady.
Aww, wow.
And she's going to ask me questions, and if I don't like the questions, I won't answer them.
Sounds good, and we can always edit and delete, so it's no problem at all. I've been doing this podcast for a little while, interviewing a lot of friends and people that I know that are entrepreneurs, and just talking about interesting things in their life, and there's so many interesting aspects of your life that I'd love to talk about, but there's a few, I think we'll start at the basics, which is I always tell people the story about how I was weaned on arts and crafts.
Oh yes, true.
So in the days when I was born, they'd keep the moms in the hospitals for like a week, right?
Yeah.
So maybe tell people about what you used to do in the hospital with the recycled napkins and things you used to make cards.
Well, I used to make little collage pictures to send home. Because they used to keep us in bed, of course, for about 5 days, and anyway, I've still got a few of them, but it was fun. It helped the day to go by, and it got to the point where the nurses were bringing me all kinds of pieces of junk to incorporate into these collages.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it was sort of foreshadowing too, because a lot of what I do, of course, is kids' crafts.
Yes,
and
of course.
Working with recycled bits and pieces. And certainly I remember growing up having, the craft drawers in the house with all the paints and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, you kept all the paintings I did when I was young.
I did.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so anyway, you've got some of them, and
yes,
I guess some of them might still be at the cottage. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, well, I remember the time I took. There were four of them that I really liked of the paintings.
That's right.
And I had them laminated and put them in an art show at my university.
That's right.
So that was pretty funny. They actually one of them won a prize, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. They weren't too happy when they
found out
when you admitted that you were 3 when you did them.
Exactly. That was a pretty funny story. Well, I'm very grateful that you kept everything. That for that, and the whole idea of recycling and making things out of recycled products. I mean, you were way ahead of your time with regards to recycling.
Certainly a pack rat, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but I remember even your mom, my grandma used to pay us like 10 cents to wrap up newspapers with string.
That's right.
And I wonder was there a facility to recycle those in those days, or what were they doing with those?
I have no recollection now. I don't know.
Because I remember she would accumulate these stacks of newspapers in her closet, the front closet, and she would pay the grandchildren, I think 10 cents a stack or something, to tie them up with string, and that probably was my first experience with entrepreneurship. And then, of course, the other job I had growing up was I used to make the salad.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And you're still an expert salad maker.
I am a little obsessed, and so Mom used to pay me 25 cents a week to make the salad every day.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then my brother and sister, I think they used to do the dishes.
Yeah.
And Kristen set the table.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, to get our allowance. So that was pretty cool.
Well, eventually Andy started to serve the table when we used to have these huge dinner parties.
Oh, wow, cool.
And he used to do all the serving.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's neat.
Yeah.
Very
fun. And then eventually Patty joined, and then after that we weren't socializing as much with 4 kids.
Well, true.
We didn't have the energy. Yeah.
But I remember in the 70s, people used to have dinner parties.
I know.
Yeah, it was a huge thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And we had the little kids table in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't do
that
that anymore. No.
Exactly. So Maya, you studied to be a nurse. You worked as a nurse you studied in
Kingston General Hospital.
Yeah.
But before that, I wanted to go to the Royal Conservatory of Music.
Yes.
To take a music degree, but my dad had just died, and Mom couldn't afford it. So nursing was the one thing you could do in those days that didn't cost any money, because you worked 6 days a week for your education.
Oh, true, yeah.
But it was only about 4 or 5 years later that nurses were sent to university to
okay, interesting. So this was before
to
that,
get their nursing degree instead. So it's
that's
a whole
right.
different thing.
Wow,
Yeah.
so you had to put your music on hold, yet over the years you did teach music.
Yeah, I did. In my teens I taught music, and then I really didn't start teaching again till I was about 50.
Oh,
Because I was
interesting.
busy raising kids and keeping house and so on. And
Kind of a full-time job,
Yeah.
that's right, with 4 kids. Yeah.
yeah.
But tell us about how you did finally go back to school for music.
Well, it was mainly simply because I was able to save up enough money to go to university.
Mm-hmm.
How did I do that? Oh yes, I went back to nursing.
That's right, you did go
Yes,
do your update and went back to nursing.
And toward the end of the 80s, I'd earned enough money to register at Carleton for my music degree, and so it took 6 years.
Wow.
For a 4-year degree, but I got there.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so I've been teaching. Well, I'm not teaching now, but I was teaching until a couple of years ago.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I've certainly met some of your students. And
Yeah, for sure.
I remember going to your graduation at the university.
True.
That was cool. And even I think we visited you at the school maybe a couple of times. Or I certainly saw your school. I remember.
Oh, for sure. No, because we had to give a recital once every month. So there were a couple of times when you and Kristen came to my recital.
Yeah, how cool, eh? The tables are turned.
Yeah,
the kids
there
going
you
to
are.
the parents' recitals.
It's true.
Yeah.
But now I can't imagine memorizing a whole hour's worth of music. I don't think I could do it anymore.
I remember one of the courses you took that I found so fascinating was a drumming course.
Oh, I love that.
Tell me about that
Friday
course.
afternoon.
Yeah.
And Yo-Yo Diallo was my drumming teacher, and he was marvelous. He only spoke French.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yeah, that which was a problem for me because of course my French was pretty abysmal.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was fun because it was the last period on Friday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was my reward at the end of the week.
That's it. Yeah, drumming is such a wonderful thing.
Oh, it's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there were about a dozen of us in the class.
Okay.
And we just had fun.
Yeah, well, I remember certainly bringing you to, in Montreal at the Montreal, they have the tam-tams.
Yes.
So that's a huge thing. That's been going on for years.
Yeah,
so it's really nice.
Maybe I'll get to do that again one day.
That's right.
I hope so.
In the summertime, it's awesome. That's great. Yeah, and the other thing about going to school is I remember you used to bike to school.
Oh, yes.
And that was a hefty trek.
That was about 3/4 of an hour biking.
Yes.
Over to Carleton. But
on your old bike, not a speed bike. This is like
my old CCM.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, 1 speed.
Wow.
So it was a heavy thing. So anyway, that was good. Yes.
Yeah. No, I much admired you doing that because I mean I do a bit of biking, but not to that extent.
Well, on Monday particularly, I was in for 8 o'clock.
Oh, right.
And I had various different subjects, and I didn't get home till after 11 o'clock that night, so that was quite a long day.
That's it.
And biking home in the dark tended to be a little bit scary, but
boy,
it was all right. It was fun.
It's amazing how sometimes we just do things and don't question it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if you really overthunk that, you might have been thinking, why am I doing this?
I know, it's
because
true.
you had a car. It was just, you like the exercise. But you're also extremely environmentally conscious.
Yeah,
which is
and also
a huge part of it.
My car, it would have cost me to park it every day.
True.
And being of the tight persuasion, I didn't want to do that. But I enjoyed that ride. It was nice.
Sense.
Yeah. Used to ride my bike through the experimental farm. There was a bike path there. And then across one of the locks.
Of course.
Carleton. At the canal. Well,
Ottawa's such a beautiful place to bike, and of course now you live, you don't bike anymore, but for years you did bike near here, and living near the water, the bike path and everything.
Well, Dad and I used to take a picnic and start on the bicycle path and go downtown all the way on the bicycle path, and then along the canal. And then we'd stop and have our picnic.
I also wanted to talk a little bit about, we had Patty on the podcast, my sister, a little while ago, and she's right now at the grandma stage, so she's taking care of her, helping take care of her 2 granddaughters and stuff. And then, of course, for years, you did so much of that with all the grandchildren.
Absolutely.
And I remember you used to call them Nanny Days.
Oh, Nanny Day. I looked forward to those every week.
So many
that
Nanny
was so
days.
much fun,
Yeah,
and then I continued that with Patty's kids, Travis and Stuart and Emily. We used to have Nanny Days once a week. And that was fun. We'd go to the museum or the Humane Society sometimes until Stuart discovered he was allergic to cats, so we couldn't go there anymore.
So fun. And then of course now it's the great grandchildren. And you guys still get out to go see them. And,
we go out and see them. And usually I try to take a treat or something for the kids. Or a little something interesting.
And I wanted to ask you like a couple of things about things you remember from growing up in your youth. And one story that I remember very clearly, and I actually tell people this story a lot, is when you went to school. You actually went to the same elementary school that I did.
Yes, it's true.
Broadview Public School. But of course, at the time that you went, it was like there was a big field right behind the school.
Huge.
And I remember you telling me during the war that they used to give you like one afternoon a week or something. You would go out and pick the
milkweed
pods. So tell us about that.
It was a wonderful afternoon off for us. And we had a ball, but the big field in the background had all these milkweed plants, and we'd pick the pods. And I don't know who stripped them. Because we'd just take them bags full of these milkweed pods.
Cool.
And
what did they do with the silk stuff?
Well, they made parachutes.
That's so cool. Like anyone I tell the story to, they didn't know that that was something that you could do. But it's so interesting.
Well, that was a lovely afternoon off when we were allowed to do that.
I think we had, there was one teacher we both had, Miss Riscorla or something.
That was in high school.
So I had her, I think Patty had her, and you had her, I think, in her first year teaching. I
had her in the first year, and she spent the whole time in tears. Because the boys in the back of the class were brutal.
Oh my goodness. Nothing changes, eh?
No, I guess not.
Oh, because I remember going to, I think it was the 70th anniversary of the school, and it was like open, so all the grades went. So we both went to that. So that was kind of fun. So so you played the cello and the piano. Yeah. And we still have your beautiful instruments here, although you don't play so much anymore.
Not so much, but I taught for quite a few years.
Yes.
But no, the piano, my dad bought secondhand. I guess it was the year I was born he bought it. Yeah, because he was self-taught.
Okay.
Had wonderful, great big hands.
Wow.
So he became quite efficient, although I don't know whether he ever had a lesson.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took Kelly Kirby kindergarten when I was 4, I think.
Okay.
And that was kind of silly.
Okay.
You know, these they had special books with these great big notes. Maybe one staff took up the whole page. And,
very basic.
Very basic, very basic. But my mother made me quit because I played everything by ear anyway. I never looked at the music.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, the mistake the teacher made was to play it for us first.
Oh, so then you had it.
Of course, I had it in my head.
Exactly. I have a feeling that would be how I would have to play. I have trouble, because I took lessons for quite a few years.
Tell me about it.
But I do have trouble with the sort of the hand-eye coordination. Like, I remember trying to learn guitar. Miriam picked it up in like that, no problem. But just to me, like the time it takes me to figure out a chord and actually play it, there was such a delay. It's just like, this is not going to work.
Not going to work. No.
Yeah. But somehow I managed 6 years of piano.
Oh, well, you got your grade 6, which was pretty good.
Kind of amazed. Maybe I should try it again.
Then why not?
Yeah.
You know, it might take a little catching up. But
that's it. Yeah, it's funny that none of your kids play an instrument.
No, not at all.
But the grandkids are picking up a little bit. That's it. And then you played in amateur orchestras for a few years. Yeah, I remember that.
That was after I didn't take up the cello until I was in my 30s.
Okay. And you taught cello as well?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, there was one point at which I was teaching more cello than piano.
Okay, yeah.
Quite a few years.
Oh, that's right.
It was good.
Yeah, I remember going to the orchestras sometimes with the Musica Jocosa, and then you guys did those musicals.
Yeah.
At one point, those were fun.
They were fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, one of my old cello students phoned this afternoon.
Okay.
She's coming over for a visit on Tuesday. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I'm sure you've influenced a lot of people, and certainly your approach to teaching is much more gentle than some, let's say. And you were teaching exclusively adult beginners.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so when we were growing up, we did a lot of really fun, activities, and we did a lot of camping, and we went to a lot of nice cultural events. And one big thing that we did a lot is we went to the Little Theater.
Oh, yes.
For years.
Yeah, well, that's still ongoing. Patty and Peter come to us once a month.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so...
I remember you used to get a membership, and we would go every month to see the plays, and I'm sure that's what instilled my love of going out and about to, I used to go to more theater. I now go to more comedy, and then I used to go to a lot of live music as well. But to me, it's second nature, because I think growing up, we did it a lot,
We did it a lot. Yeah, we did.
And so to me, it's a normality to want to go out and to see things and experience things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And I remember you used to come down to Montreal a lot, and we would go to the Fringe Festival and all those shows.
That was really fun.
Yeah. So thanks, Mom, so much for coming on the podcast. That was really fun. And so we'll see everybody the next time.
Good.
Bye. So, hey everybody, today I'm here with my dad, Ian. Want to say hi?
Hi.
Awesome. So I wanted to ask you a little bit, some stories that you've told us in the past that I found really interesting. And one was about when the summer you were working up north.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about why you were up north and a little bit about it?
Yeah, of course I was going to university at Queen's, and I found that if I could work in the bush in the summer, I could pretty well pay my way. Now the kids can't do it these days; it costs too much.
Yeah.
But I could as long as I worked in the bush in the summer, I could make up enough money. So one of the years I was up north, I was working on the. You see, I'm a civil engineer, and I was taking things. Originally, I wanted to be a forester. This was when I was in high school. I wanted to be a forester, and then I worked a couple of summers in the bush around northern around the lakehead.
Yeah.
And I decided maybe I should take civil engineering instead.
Less bugs.
If I still want to work in the bush, I can always get a job with building roads and bridges and things like that.
True, yeah.
So I ended up north on. I was working out of Hay River.
Okay.
And we were building a road around Great Slave Lake.
Oh, cool.
Around to Yellowknife, because the only way you could get to Yellowknife was in the winter you could go by ice.
Right.
In the summer you'd have to go by boat. And so they were building this road, and the road went. I guess it was like it was the original shoreline. It was about 30 miles south of Hay River.
So you ended up working as a civil engineer. And I remember growing up, you coming home from your job as an engineer and bringing home specs, right? And I think that had a big influence on me as an artist too, because you would come home with these stacks of specs, like these books full of paper, which were blank on one side and had information on the other side, and then also the plans, so the big rolls of white paper on one side and maps on the other, and we would use those to wrap our Christmas gifts and draw on them and color them and glue things on them. So I think that had a big impact on my arts and crafts. Yeah, definitely. And you actually grew up out in the prairies, right?
That's right.
So you were
born in Regina,
right?
And then I went up. We moved to Winnipeg. Let's see. I guess I just started school.
Okay.
Moved to Winnipeg, and I went to a school there out in Riverwood.
Okay, right.
And then there was bush all around us, and of course it was during the war.
Right.
And so then we moved into town around Stafford and Macmillan, around there.
Right.
And I was there until grade 10.
Okay, right.
And so then that's when we moved to Ottawa.
Yes. Yeah.
So my early schooling was all around Winnipeg during the war.
Oh, wow.
And of course the war ended in 45. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And your parents were journalists?
Yeah. They were both, I guess that's where they met, because they met in Edmonton, and they were both taking journalism. But this is how they met. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
My mother was from. Dad was from Scotland. He was born in Scotland.
Okay.
And my mother was born in Edmonton.
Okay.
And they had a long history in Edmonton. And her father was a judge there, and he had.
Wow.
But
because I remember you saying growing up, they used to have a lot of friends over and a lot of politicians.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that Diefenbaker actually sat on the couch in your living room.
Yeah, and in those days he was a neighbor. Every now and then he'd give Dad a lift home.
Oh, that's so wild.
Yeah.
And then we had this couch at the cottage for years, this Diefenbaker couch. And then when the couch finally completely fell apart, I cut it up into little pieces and made a little mini couch, which is like a little Kleenex box couch. So I'm going to throw a picture of, I don't know if we have a picture of the actual couch, but I'll put a picture of the Kleenex box couch in there.
We can look through our pictures.
Look through and see, maybe, I wonder if you have a picture of Diefenbaker on the couch. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, take a look,
I think I did a Photoshop picture of one at one point for one of my comics, but that's sort of the little brush with celebrity, right? Yeah. Have you ever been to the Diefenbaker?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either. We should go.
We should go. Yeah,
that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, they had it closed down for a long time, and then they opened it up. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to check it out. Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention is you used to do a lot of building stuff, and you know you helped design the cottage. We actually had this lot that we used to camp.
For about 12 years.
For 12 years.
We camped on it.
Just camped there. And then eventually you designed and had this cottage built, which is, we spent a lot of time up there, which is amazing. But I remember you had a workshop in the basement when we lived in the house and built many things. One being at one point, as the kids got older, we needed our own private space. So you built, there was a big long room over the garage, and you built a divider between to divide it into 2 rooms for me and my sister. So that was cool. I remember that. And remember the little sliding door in between to save
that's
space?
right. Didn't have any room for a regular door.
Yes, there's that. And then when I moved to Montreal, I had no money. I was super poor, and my friends luckily rented me a little room in the back of their apartment, tiny little room. And so Dad built me a high bed, so the bed was like up high. This was before you could buy these things at IKEA, right? And then I had my desk underneath, and so I remember you built that, brought it down, installed it in it was this massive thing, but you designed it. That was fun. So I'd often go down in the basement and use your bits of wood and things to build crafts and all kinds of things. That was really cool. And even here you're in a condominium now, but they have a workroom downstairs. And you've definitely built quite a few things.
Built a few things. I was going to suggest that you interviewed Mom. And I thought maybe I should tell you how I met Mom.
Yeah, go for it. Let's hear it.
Because we were. I was in final year at the Queen's University. And I guess it was, I can't remember, it was in maybe March or something like that. But I had a room with 2 other guys.
Okay.
And this one guy, Dougie Adams, and his girlfriend, Janie, and then we used to take turns cooking.
Okay.
So when Doug's turn came, Janie cooked for him, his girlfriend.
Yes. Okay.
So I'd have my time, and then Walt would have his time. So anyway, I think it was Walt suggested, look, Janie, why don't you line up one of your nurses, and 3 of us will go for a date.
Nice.
And so anyway, Mom was a classmate of Janie's.
Okay, cool.
At KGH, and so Mom came along. Now I had known Mom because she was a friend of my sister Mimi.
And that was a coincidence.
That was a coincidence.
That's wild. Yeah.
So I knew her from high school.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we went out. We had a great time, and I think we ended up playing poker.
Yes.
And I was surprised that Mom knew how to play poker.
Oh yeah, I think she beat you guys.
Yeah,
right?
she beat us. Yeah. So anyway, we got together.
Nice.
And then I used to drive up from by this time I lined up a job in Hamilton.
Oh yes.
And so I used to drive from Hamilton in the summer.
So I also wanted to ask you. I have some old photos from when you were growing up and stuff, and there's a couple of photos of you on your motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
So that would have been in Ottawa.
That was in Ottawa. Yeah.
So tell me about your motorcycle.
I was about 15, I guess.
Okay.
And I bought this motorcycle, and it was I guess it was an old James. But it was had a Villiers engine in it. So this was when I was working for the ski club
Right.
We used to, the Ottawa Ski Club used to have the trail riders there.
Right.
And we used to go around once a week and in the winter and open up the trails. And so anyway, I got the nickname Villiers because the guys would ask me, and I explained to them this is an old James, but it had a Villiers engine, so I got the nickname Villiers.
Right.
As a matter of fact, about 2 weeks ago, a guy called me up, and another trail rider friend had put him onto it, but he called me Villiers.
Oh, that's so fun! It stuck. Yeah.
But yeah, but then I got an old Indian.
Okay.
And it was one of the trail riders was selling it, so I bought this old Indian.
Wow.
It was an Indian 45. It was about like a 750.
Okay.
And it was so I had that. And it had a stick shift on it.
Oh wow, that's wild. So did you travel around, or it was more in Ottawa?
It was more in Ottawa.
Yeah. And you skied for a long time, like you said. You were in
high school.
Trail riders.
I skied for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And we were part of the Ottawa Ski Club. And
right.
They gave us a lodge. We stayed in the upstairs of a lodge called Lockberg Lodge.
Right.
It was right beside the old ski jump.
Right.
And one of the things we had to do is during for the ski jumps, we had to pack the trail down and keep it in good shape. Yeah.
Right.
That was one of the jobs they gave us. Besides doing it every Friday night, we'd go out on the trails.
Yeah.
And when after snow, and the brake trail
and I remember you were skiing up until you were 80, I think. Well, when was the last time you went skiing?
I skated about maybe about 4 years ago.
Yeah, so
I was skiing till 4 years ago. Yeah,
so until you were 80 something. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And the only reason you had to stop was your knee.
Yeah,
really.
my knee went.
But that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Don't you get a free pass at a certain age?
And it was my friend and I used to ski at Montreal. And when we turned 80, it was free at Tremblant.
Wow! So you have to reach 80 before you get a free pass.
Yeah. So we'd been skiing there for quite a while.
Yeah.
So anyway, they gave us it was free.
Nice.
So and my friend liked driving, so it was great. Yeah,
that's awesome. You for a while you were golfing.
Yeah, I golfed until a few years ago, and the fellow I was golfing with his rotator cuff gave out on him, so he can't swing the club, and so that was the end of the golfing. It was about the same time as I was as I had to quit skiing. So
right. And you started golfing, I guess, when you retired, right?
I started golfing in Winnipeg. Really?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So a long time.
Yeah. We used to ride our bicycles out to. With our clubs, we used to ride our bicycles out to this thing on the other side of the Assiniboine River.
Right.
There's a golf course there. It's a 9-hole golf course, and this is where I learned how to golf. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we had about 3 or 4 friends, and we ride our bikes. Actually, we rode across there's a railway bridge over the Assiniboine River, and we rode across the bridge.
Yeah. Very quickly, I guess.
Yeah, very quickly. Yeah.
That's so funny. But I don't remember you golfing when we were growing up, but you certainly went into it more when you retired.
Yeah. When I retired, yeah. But when we first moved to Ottawa, there was a golf course, the McKellar Golf course.
Okay.
And it's all built up now.
Yeah, I
guess.
But
it used to. That was the first place I golfed in Ottawa.
Okay.
And then I didn't golf again until I golf with a bunch of guys at work. I used to golf with. Yeah.
Right. Now the McKellar Golf Club, was that near McKellar Park?
That's the same place.
Oh, because that's where we live. We lived in a house across from McKellar Park.
That's right. We lived across from. Actually, I can't remember what hole it was, but we lived on.
We lived on one of the holes.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I think that street was still. It was at the edge of the golf course.
Okay. Yeah, because we lived on Windermere, and that was a great house. That was so great. It was right across from the park, right near the water. We could walk down to the river.
Yeah, that was a good spot.
And there was a bike path along the river.
It just got, like, when all you guys left, it was too small, too big for us.
Too big, yeah.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
That's when we moved to our condo here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I always tell people as soon as the kids left, you guys moved here and never looked back, because why have this big, burdensome house? Exactly.
Spend all your time maintaining it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you have everything you need here, and when there's too many guests, there's a guest room downstairs.
Oh, this is a good building. Yeah. This is one of the first condos that went up, and they put everything in it. We got swimming pool, and pool rooms, and exercise rooms,
craft room. It's fantastic. And the library, we were downstairs watching movies last night.
That's right, the library,
it's super fun. But you certainly, over the years have spent a lot of time out. You're outdoors. You're an outdoorsy person. No, I think that's awesome. And certainly you instilled a love of nature in us too, also, well, not just with the cottage, but also camping. Remember those crazy camping trips? We'd have like the old car, and it's when you could seat a person in the front seat, right?
We had a little trailer.
And we had the trailer in the back.
We put everything, we put a tarp over it. And we went all over, East Coast, West Coast,
oh my gosh.
South. No, it's good. Those are good trips.
6 people in a tent, and my brother would sit in the front seat between you and Mom, and I guess they had seat belts in the front seat at that point.
I don't know if we had.
Who knows?
We probably didn't have. We probably didn't have seat belts.
Wow. No, we went to some amazing
places.
Those
early ones we didn't have seat belts at all. No.
Remember we went to Yellowstone Park. Went down to Florida, went across to Vancouver Island. Your aunt was out there. No, those were some amazing trips, and it's funny that I've never gone camping with Miriam, but I think I got my fill when I was younger. Okay, so thanks so much, Dad, for coming on the podcast. That was so much fun. I can't wait to put all the clips together, and I'll throw some pictures in, some nostalgic pictures away. And we'll see everybody next time. Bye. So hey guys, I'm back with both of my parents. Yay! And something I wanted to talk about a little bit is that they both play music. My mom is a musician and a music teacher, and my dad picked up music along the way. And I'll let you tell him. Start by letting my dad tell the story about how he started playing music. So. Let's hear it.
Mom and I were living in Hamilton, and I was working for C.C. Parker, and Mom was nursing, and we used to walk around Hamilton, and one day, and I knew Mom was really missing her music, so one day we were walking along, and we saw this violin for sale in the window at a music store, and so we went in, and I said, Mom, look, I tell you what, when you ever get to play your piano again, I'll learn how to play the violin, because I like the violin music, and we can play together. And so anyway, I forgot that I said this to Mom. So later on, we were living in Ottawa, and and so I came home from work one day, and Mom said, the violin was only cost $35, because this is a violin, the case and everything else. So I knew nothing about the violin itself, except I liked the sound. So I came home one day when I was working in Ottawa, and Mom said, okay, well, your first lesson's tonight. My first lesson. So Mom had lined up a violin teacher, and so I went to this. I went for my first lesson, and the woman said, "How long have you been playing the violin?" And I said, "Oh no, I haven't played the violin." And she said, "Do you play any musical instruments?" I said, "No, I don't." And so she said. So anyway, we had our first lesson, and we were going out the door. I was going out the door, and she said, "You know, I also teach the recorder." And I said, oh no, it's okay. I'll say. So
you stuck with it.
I stuck with it.
Yeah.
So Mom and I got together with other people, and we played music, and I tried to practice as much as I could on the violin. So I got about three different. I got to about three different positions, first, third, and fifth, I think. And all the other positions, I didn't have time for that. So anyway.
And then of course playing in the orchestra was perfect because you could just blend in with everybody else, right? So that's always a good thing. And I remember for years going to see you guys perform, and Mom and I, we talked about that a little bit in your interview about performing, and you played cello, of course, in the orchestra, and then did you play the viola at one point too? But here, right?
Yeah. They didn't have any violas, so I bought myself a viola.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
3 weeks later, I was playing in the orchestra.
Well, that worked. I thought you had done that. I couldn't remember if you actually played the viola as well.
Yeah.
So, and then you guys would have friends over to play string quartets, which was great to have a hobby you can play with other people to have something to do. No, that was, I remember many times you guys doing that, and then of course, Mom, you played in a quartet at weddings, and I'd forgotten about that.
I had to. It's been a while.
Because you did that for a few years.
About 10 years, actually.
Yes. And you'd arrange all the music and everything, and I'm sure you had some bridezillas you had to deal with.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's so fun. Cool. Well, thank you guys for being on the podcast. And now I have to go edit and put all this together.
There you are.
Bye. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in to Stories of Starting. If you would like to inspire others with your story, big or small, be sure to reach out via storiesofstarting.com. Until next time, always remember, your story matters.